Dear Boomers, today I've taken my dog Pearl to the vet because she was coughing. Coughing. But then she's gained 20 pounds. So there might be a thyroid problem, which would help her tremendously. Let me just show you my Pearl. She's such a wonderful dog. Oh my God. There she is, honey. Pearl, do you love your life? So I have arranged for cremation if she should pass away, when she passes away. But she's doing so well, and I am not afraid of that moment because death has to be brought out of the closet. And also often death is brought out of the closet by the animals that we have, when, especially children, if they are raised on a farm and the farm animals pass on, that helps them to understand that death is a process of life, is a life process. So, everybody does completely freak out at the death of their dogs or cats. And it is normal to feel that way, but it is also, we can rehearse within our own minds that when this moment comes, we will understand and take it into our hearts and relax into our hearts, into our brains, brain to heart and throughout the body, that we have a life event that is not necessarily easy, but it is a part of life. As I have mentioned many times, when we are born, we take a large inhale and then we cry. And when you die, you exhale, and then that's it. And I have seen that several times in my life when I have been with people who have died and dogs who have died. I was with my dog Mukunda when he died, and I was with my soulmate Ulysses when he died. And these were not easy times. In fact, the death of Ulysses brought me Pearl exactly 1 month later. She was a feral dog in Tennessee. I mean, she was wild, wandering around, digging into garbage heaps. And also she would tackle down animals and eat them. And as I have mentioned recently, she was finding bunny nests. But that is her feral personality. And she has not really lost it. In fact, today, she was very nice to the vet, as nice as she can be without biting them. I think she actually likes the vet that we saw today. And that helps a lot for her ability to relax. And she actually walked around the veterinarian building. And so I think she's had her walk for the day. But she does go she and Masa run all around the yard. Look at this. She is quite the shedder. And so she and Masa run to the end of the yard, and then they come back, and she has been doing that quite frequently. What they do is they run to the end of the yard and bark at bunnies on the other side of the fence. So that keeps her busy, and she's, like I said, she's already had a good walk today, and we are happy about that. Dogs, death, and bringing death out of the closet. As a matter of fact, I had a YouTube channel called Bringing Death Out of the Closet, and I'm trying to transfer a short back into this channel to be viewed, because we can have cyber death conversations. We can actually have death cafes online, cyber death cafes. And I think that's something people do want to talk about, especially if they've just lost somebody that they love very much. I think a cyber death cafe is a great idea. So we will think about that as time goes on here. And Pearlie is almost 13, so it is a very logical thing to think about her eventual passing. My husband's last word as he died was Pearl. But that's because she was barking. But there's also a deeper meaning to his calling her Pearl, 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 because he didn't like the noise that she knew something was going on. And when she knows something's going on, she barks. She's a barker. And she's taught Maso to be a barker. So let me know if you're interested in cyber death cafes. That might be something we can do here on this channel, and bring in the community on YouTube to have a discussion about it. And I feel very certain that I went to a not a cyber death cafe, but I went to an actual death cafe soon after my husband's passing and before the COVID epidemic became a raging thing, because I wouldn't have been able to go. In fact, they shut down all death cafes. So I went to one, and I thought I could hold it together, but it was very emotional. Like I said, it was very close to the time of my husband's death, and they gave out a book called Being Mortal, and I started to read that book, but I didn't like the book. I did not like the book because it was so, life, there is no life, after death. Of course, nobody knows if there's life after death. And people who write about it, like him, a scientist, would not necessarily embrace life after death. But we people who have seen and felt our loved ones long after they have died can attest to the validity of these wonderful experiences that we have. Nothing to be afraid of. And what would we discuss in a cyber death cafe? I think we would discuss the ways that we can adapt to these losses without going out of our minds, which is a possibility with when our loved ones die. We just completely lose it sometimes. And I can understand, I remember feeling very lost after Tom's death. And after we took care of his body, and it was, and then right after COVID, but it was right then that COVID kicked in, and I was not able to see anybody. Nobody came over to the house. When people die, there's like little celebrations, and people come and share memories, and they might even bring me food. But they did not, and they didn't. And however, the people who were living at my farmhouse at the time, and still are, it's not my farmhouse, it's not my farmhouse because I eventually sold it to them, but they fed me. And if it weren't, I really think I would have just stopped eating. And I did stop eating, and they fed me wonderful Moroccan food, flavors of Morocco. I thought it would be so cool to interview my dear friend Bushra, who runs this restaurant out of her home and also at a marketplace in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Pearlie was raised at the farmhouse. She likes to go down there and hang out and frolic around. I think she would frolic around if I took her there again. Maso likes it there, but anyway, they transformed the farmhouse into a Moroccan Mecca. I mean, I have never seen anything like it. And you can talk about the beauty of immigration. Our immigrants in this country should be revered for the absolute ingenuity that they offer to American society. Because a typical American buying that home, God knows what they would have done with it. But I, from the very beginning, wanted them to have the house. It was not easy for them to procure it because of the pandemic. They had a restaurant that closed down. Everything was closing down. And, as far as I was concerned, I knew it would all open up again. And I wanted them to have the house. It's as simple as that. They belong there. The house is theirs. And the Conestoga River that runs by the house is absolutely wonderful. I used to swim up to a big rock with Ulysses at my side, and he as my soulmate. I knew he was my soulmate when he kept swimming next to me and going, And that sound has stayed with me every step along the way. Here comes a big dog. We're at the vet office right now, and I just needed to talk about how Pearlie might have a thyroid condition, and she will be with us as long as she wants to be. There's going to be a video that shows up here. Take a look at it, and namaste. Subscribe. Bye-bye.